small business owners? It's Marlo, you already know, founder of the Crafted Pen and your favorite podcast host on Small Business Radio Detroit. That's right, I said it, your favorite. Before we do anything, please make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you stay connected with us so you can continue to receive the gems that we drop here on Small Business Radio Detroit. So I want to welcome you back to another amazing episode. This is the show where we bring real, raw, and relevant conversations straight from the heart of entrepreneurship. Today's episode, we're going to be focusing on how better networks create better businesses. So, we'll be discussing different consulting realities and networking realities that small businesses need to hear. If you're a small business owner out there right now, right, and you've been struggling to build a strong network, or just wondering why your position isn't hitting the mark, this is the episode that you didn't know you needed. Okay. So, our guest today is Jonathan Barlow. He is the founder of Let's Talk Roundtable. And this is a business consulting firm that does more than talk strategy, right? They really take conversations, real conversations, and begin to provide assistance to entrepreneurs to turn those conversations into collaborations and opportunities. So Jonathan is known for rolling up his sleeves, okay, and working directly with small businesses to fix the root of their challenges. So if you're having team dysfunction, you have a weak professional network, you're lacking systems, or you're just in operational chaos, he's not here to sugarcoat what's wrong. He's really here to identify what's going to be right and what's going to help us to move forward. So, with a powerful blend of industry insights and street level experience coming from the D, Jonathan helps businesses owners recognize when their problems are really process issues, right? And when the vision needs a stronger execution and strategy behind it, which a lot of times we should know that it's not what we know, but really who we know. So your network is so important and so powerful. So today we'll be going behind the curtain of consulting, talking about what it really takes to build a sustainable business and how to make better decisions in terms of growing our network, and why so many entrepreneurs skip these foundational steps that literally will make or break their long-term success. So if you're ready to stop putting out fires and you're ready to stop begging for opportunities and create your own table to build something scalable, let's get into it and let's welcome Jonathan Barlow to the show.
Hi, how are you? I'm well. I'm well. We just had some guests come into Shops on Top. That's where I am today, down in the Eastern Market. Just wanted to be down here when we did this. So excuse the customer who came in, but I am doing well. And how are you doing?
No, that's no problem. You at work, always at work.
No. I'm not even working. I'm just really wanting to be. I've done about maybe 7 to 10 podcasts recently. Just really in the season that I'm in, and I wanted to find a better place to do it in terms of like visual, and just being able to so I can see the whole city right now. I can see Ford Field, I can see Eastern Market, I can see everything. I can kind of concentrate on what I'm talking about.
You can lock in. You need that
vibe.
Yeah,
the ambiance.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, I'm super duper excited to have you on. Just thinking about Let's Talk Roundtable, in which you are the founder of, and thinking about all the good things and impactful things that you're doing in the city of Detroit is so inspirational. And right now, for small businesses, a lot of people are fearful. They're scared of what's going to happen with everything that's going on the high level down in Washington. How is this going to impact these smaller organizations that are really working hard to try to get to that next point? So I'm excited for you to give us some deeper insights on building networks, on the different issues that you see within small businesses as a consultant, and then how you're really leveraging Let's Talk Roundtable. So before we get into the nitty gritty, the meat and potatoes of everything, I just want to talk about your journey first. What inspired you to start Let's Talk Roundtable?
Well, I'll be honest with you. What's your nickname? Because I want to know your nickname. I never asked you that.
My nickname is Marley. That actually used to be the name of my company. It was writing on Marley's wall before it was the crafted pen.
Okay, okay. You said Marie?
Marley, M-A-R.
Marley. That's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay, Marley. Okay, okay. Well, Marley. Listen, I've always been a small business owner. I've consulted and dealt with industry initiatives and industry converging, but when it comes to business in America and internationally, I always believe in a small business owner. The reason why is because they're on the ground and they find things out that kind of get lost in the bureaucracy and and just the size of organizations once they become so large. You can actually see on some charts how an organization gets so large to where it starts to become irrelevant. Like just because of time, like it can't go backwards and it can't reinvent itself, so it starts to drift off. And
Exactly.
so small business is always the driving force to innovation. It's the new currency and for new ideas of tomorrow. And so my journey for small business kind of started when I'll probably be in church and they give me a piece of candy on one side of the sanctuary, and I'll probably go sell it to my friends on the other side of the sanctuary.
But you say
I mean,
you was flipping it early.
I was trying to raise dues or something for one of the little kids ministries or something. I don't know, but I say that I say that maybe deep down inside that's always kind of been my forte. I've always looked at social enterprises,
Yeah.
and really trying to lay the foundation for being able to not only create and bring my ideas to life,
Yeah.
but to also help others. And so when you start talking about small business, I've done everything from selling candy to door-to-door sales to online stores to helping them regular mom and pops shop out.
Yeah.
I sold vinyl at a record store on Finkel Avenue in Detroit
Okay.
when I was in high school. So
Right.
I've done it all when it comes to that.
Yes, yes. Sounds like you were really born with that entrepreneurial spirit, right? Like, even for myself, I didn't realize I had an entrepreneurial spirit, or I may have, and just kind of resisted it. Because, a lot of times with entrepreneurship, it's a scary thought, especially when you're used to being in the 9 to 5, the worker bee mentality to kind of shift more into like CEO mindset, strategic mindset, high level mindset can be a little bit scary. So for me, I just put it off. I was like, no, I'm gonna just keep working these jobs. But some way, somehow, I kept ending up right back with the entrepreneurship. So
Yeah.
I really admire the fact that you embraced that, essentially a young age, and you weren't afraid to really step out on that. And so I can understand why that puts you in this consulting space, because you have so many years of experience on so many different levels, which gives you a broader perspective to be able to really help businesses to move forward and scale. So when you're thinking about industry consulting for small businesses, there's so many myths, there's so many things out here, so many fluff providers, right, that aren't really getting down to the nitty-gritty. So what does industry consulting mean in your world? And how do you really define your role in the success of small businesses?
So I'm an innovation, enthusiast. Anything that deals with future concepts and being of the future, that's where I really thrive at.
Yes.
Technology being one of those anchor points, but really just bringing a fresh, clean energy to any situation or any industry. And that's what I tend to do. Besides fixing problems from a government relations or public affairs perspective, which is
Yeah.
kind of my other semi skill set, just based off of my network alone, it
Yeah.
allows me to go in and out of doors. Being an industry consultant pretty much means that I'm able to go into any space or any type of atmosphere and cross pollinate relationships, cross pollinate ideas, create more synergy, and create a table. And that's what really Let's Talk Roundtable.com and the platform represents. I was able to show last year that out of my own pocket, I could bring any leader from any industry together and address any audience and start to bring their conversation to collaboration. We
Yeah.
did everything from conversations with health and wellness to sports and entertainment
Okay.
to we did a whole roundtable just on moms in entrepreneurship. They just had an event yesterday, Dana
Yeah.
Mott, Moms in Business, who does excellent affairs or events and activations when it comes to just helping moms see through the lens of each other to be able to support each other and
Yeah.
help each other out and talk about their journeys. And so what I'm just always fascinated when someone takes the leap, the leap of faith, and really finds the confidence to do to really become a brand, to really find out who they want to be as an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur doesn't always mean you're the CEO. And I teach it every single day. And I wish many of our community members, whether it be in a minority communities or otherwise, I just think a lot of people have been led to believe that they have to be the president, CEO, but then they don't remember that they have to go still find those other parts. And
Exactly.
sometimes being a part of a team doesn't mean that you're not the CEO. You're the CEO of the function and the service that you're bringing to that team. And
Yeah.
so it just because someone else's name is on the bigger contract doesn't mean that you don't have a contract for what you do. And so stop trying to always do everything. Sometimes it's about finding your niche, finding what you can do, and making it and finding the team in which they're going to support and bring you business and help collaborate and find success for everybody to win.
Yes, definitely. And I really love that because it's one thing that I realized in business. Number one, confidence was key for me, right? So that's really what got me to step it up because I had my business for 3 years before I ever made any real money. And it started with that confidence. So to be able to come into an organization such as Let's Talk Roundtable, and you have all these people available to you to be able to connect you and really save you some time, is really more of an accelerated path in my opinion, because it took me a while to build relationships and meet people. I can't tell you how many events I had to go to and cards I had to collect. And guess what? I may have talked to them in February, but that relationship may not have even started or taken off until 6 or 7 months down the line. So for you, I really love that Let's Talk Roundtable is kind of helping to bridge that gap. That's really huge. And I think, and I truly believe that's probably what differentiates you from other traditional consultants. I mean, people could come in, and they can say, "Hey, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. This is the strategy you need to do." But you're more hands-on in it. You're more, let me come with you. Let me hold your hand through this process. Let me get you to where you need to go. And it's more personal. So I love that. That's what I pride myself on as well when I work with my clients. Because, I mean, let's face it, it's too much fluff out here. So this is the real thing. How do you feel that your better team, better positioning phrase can be applied in practical terms for small businesses?
So
Yeah.
the majority of the majority of the small businesses that I work with are normally tech founders,
Okay.
or those around innovation, or at least that's what I focus on right now. When it
Yes.
comes to others that are looking for more traditional ideas, just looking for like clothing lines or other things that can be innovative, but normally have a very clear cut process and
Yes.
customer base. Uh, I kind of everything is case by case and custom for
Yes.
me. No one case is the same. You can't go to any two cities and sell white t-shirts the same way. It just doesn't. I mean, you can sell it the same way, but you're going to potentially have different results. And
Exactly.
so, I always handle people and meet them where they are. And so when you can really do a profile on who that individual is, what their leadership style is, in addition to what their leadership experience has been, you can really hone in on who that individual could or operate around and who they need to be connected with. I think that a lot of times people feel as though they can step out in business and be supported by those who might tolerate them in real life.
Friends, cousins, exactly.
like really like just because they might go grab a beer with you or might have a meal with you doesn't mean that they will patronize you or be there in the late and wee hours when you're trying to get something done. And so I'm just a realist when it comes to how you position yourself for support.
Yes.
You can't and then you have to think about that. No one's getting paid to support you, so there's no real interest or no vested interest. And even when you give someone a vested interest, that people buy homes in the community all the time but don't vote.
Exactly.
What sense does that make? Why would you buy a home somewhere where you don't want to have a say or voice your opinion or voice your concerns or your needs? And so that's kind of why, interesting enough, I'm running for mayor right now in the city of Detroit, because people need to be a little bit more ready to vocalize and speak up for themselves. And that's and a small business owner is one of the things that I'm focusing on, because we need at least $500 million, which I plan on bringing to the city of Detroit in order to really accelerate the growth of the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That small business owner, as well as that group of individuals that want to put a grocery store in the neighborhood or want to build the next community innovation thoroughfare district, or alleys like they have downtown that have entertainment kind of uh atmospheres and ambiances to it, to bring that to the neighborhood
Yeah.
aspect, the neighborhood areas. I just think that small business owners are the drive, again, the driving force. And when you can really empower them and bring them to life, cities and the masses can thrive, because everybody can then be a part of it.
Right. Exactly. Because, and this is something I just learned recently too. The way I used to think about money, right? I used to think about money as when you pay it out, it's gone, it's lost, when really money is it's just a cycle of
Yeah.
currency. And so if you're continuing to cycle those things in the right areas, guess what? You're putting money into the small businesses, which are then helping Joe or John or Susan to pay their bills or to provide for their families. And it's just better for the economy as a whole. So I love that approach, that you're looking at things from more of not just how is your business, how are small businesses impacting the customers they're serving, but how can we continue to empower small businesses to sustain and keep going, to have a larger impact on the community overall. So I love it. You have a very unique approach with how you're thinking about small businesses and their success short term as well as long term, which is important because so many small businesses, you see the ads all the time. Oh yeah, sign up, LegalZoom, get your LLC, unless you went to college and got a business degree, you don't have a clue what
Yeah.
you're really
Yeah.
getting yourself into. And when I started to get my feet into it for real and stop playing with my business and realize what it really took, it took that village in that community. So for you to be able to facilitate those connections is key. So thank you so much for that. That's amazing. And our community really needs that. But now I'm thinking about things from more of an operational aspect. Me, I'm a process focused individual. That's why the Crafted Pen focuses heavily on project management support as well as proposal writing support. So, as a project manager for like the last 7 to 8 years and coming out of the workforce and transitioning into business, I was kind of a jade of all trades at first, right? Doing anything. It seems like in the beginning, you're just taking whatever comes your way because you're trying to keep the bills paid, right? But now I have started to realize that project management experience not only helped me get through different challenges and struggles in life, because project management is all around us, right?
Yeah.
Everything around us is management of something. So having that really helped me to take that business to the next level, figure out how I need to set up processes and automations. How can I'm in a hard place, right? So I'm in the middle where I'm not making enough to have full-time or part-time employees, but I need help to get to the point to make that money to pay full-time and part-time employees. And I feel like that's where the network really comes in, because then you're able to delegate and outsource, right? Like you were saying, a lot of times we're stuck thinking we have to do everything, we have to wear all the hats. When really being a CEO or owner of a business is really about delegation, being strategic on who you're giving certain things to, where you're going to see the biggest return on your investment, and so on and so forth. So, from your perspective, which is a much broader scale, what are the top three operational mistakes that you feel small businesses make today when trying to scale or take their business to that next level?
So scaling is a very interesting thing. You talk about when you first get into business, knowing your customer, right?
Yes.
And really being able to, I just didn't want to keep on looking down at you.
Oh yeah,
But
John.
but get really knowing your customer is one of the best things that you can do. Um People don't spend enough time doing the right discovery.
Right.
And just doing the right discovery without finding the right community to build your base is even more detrimental to your long-term success, because it'll prop you up and have you thinking inflated, and then the gas to get let out of you when you make that heavy investment.
Yes.
Most investors only invest in the person, but they're investing in the fact that you know your customer or that you know what your idea is about. And
Right.
so I always try to poke holes in that when I start looking at who wants to scale, why they want to scale, and when they scale. And so, to be 1,000% honest, I'm not so much a fan of scaling as M&A, more merger and acquisitions.
Okay.
I don't think things need to be duplicated or reinvented. I don't think things need to be duplicated. I think sometimes these can be reinvented that are right in front of our eyes.
Right.
And so I'm always a fan of, again, partnerships and collaborations and relationships. So when I look at scaling, I always look at what do you not have to redo, or what do you not have to go to. Now, franchising and things like that, even with that, there's a lot of different opportunities. Like I have an Asian restaurant, not Asian restaurant, but Asian fusion restaurant chain that is trying to come into the city, but I really want them to partner with my sushi company that's trying to
Yes.
finish their project. So it's
Right.
really about cross-pollination, really
Yes.
get into the heart of what's needed and what what the stakeholders are looking for.
Okay. And I agree with that too, because currently I'm at a stage where I'm kind of stuck in that middle point, right? Where I need a staff, but I have figured out some very unique ways to manage not only my back end processes, because we think about back end processes, right? But we don't think about front end processes and how we really um, perfect that customer journey, right? The funnel, the way that we're bringing the customer in, how is that streamlining? I mean, your processes can literally save your business money if you have things set up appropriately, because you're not miscommunicating, you're not duplicating work, you're not, letting things fall through the cracks. Things are going through strategically for a big purpose, for the main goal, which is to convert them into paying clients, right? So for me, from my perspective as a business owner today, it's like, okay, how do I offer this service? And you see the need, right? Like you say, know your customer, know your audience, you know their pain points, you know what it's really going to take for them to get where they need to go. And a lot of times small businesses only have, like you said, one or two pieces of that overall solution for that client or for that customer. So now what I'm doing is collaborating. I want to be able to not just come in and offer you like for proposal writing, right?
Yeah.
So I want to come in and be able to be a one-stop shop. You want to do business with the government. Okay, I'm going to come in, I'm going to write your RFP. Not only will I write your RFP, I'll also make sure that the project management plan or project management approach that we implement in this RFP is something that my company is going to manage for you when you get this award. And we'll also manage your compliance, and if you need assistance, I want to focus on companies that are in the learning and development, leadership development, professional development space, because I'm really passionate about empowering people through education. So because I'm not a program manager, guess what? I've just partnered with a program development company. So we will collectively pursue opportunities where I'm managing the project, they're creating the program, right? So that kind of thing. Or just providing project management support to other GCs who actually have contracts that are focused in that area. Because, we try to drive impact or solve a problem when a lot, like you said, a lot of times there's someone else we can collaborate with and connect with where we can create a much bigger picture, go after much larger opportunities because we have a lot more leverage with all of our expertise and finances combined compared to if I was just doing it myself. So we are on the same page on that note. And, any small businesses out there looking to get into that space, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, especially if you're looking to get a better flow and process for government contracting and obtaining those different awards. So that's kind of where I specialize in, but that's where I have seen, hey, I'm not going to get these high ticket contracts pursuing it on my own right now just because where I am. So now I need to be strategic about my network and who I have relationships with to see how we can collaborate and come together. But yes, collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. It is really what made a huge difference in my business. Like
Yeah.
more than quadruple my monthly income by just working with other people.
Yeah, I mean, it's the foundation, it's the basis for whatever needs to take place. I don't think any of the world's problems or any real problems get tackled by any one person or any one entity. Um, I I mean, it's the foundation. I don't think you get the village uh concept for no reason throughout history. Uh, if that wasn't the case, so yeah, that small businesses have to keep strategic partnerships, and their vendor network alone is the basis for partnerships. So I totally agree.
Definitely, definitely. And now thinking about, okay, so we all know, like I was saying, for years I felt this entrepreneurial spirit, right? And I just was resistant to it because of that fear. And thinking about the economy, like we were mentioning earlier, and kind of where businesses are today, how do you, when you're working with a client or an organization, how do you usually handle the resistance? For those who, you may be telling them, hey, this is going to be your best approach, but they're stuck in this tunnel vision. How do you help entrepreneurs to really think outside of the box and expand their mindset?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you. If you're not teachable, I can't work with you.
Right.
And I'm not gonna waste your time or my time debating on which way to go. And because I don't really have, I can give you my input. You can take it, do what you want with it. Neither me or you are accountable. I mean, to each other in terms of having to do what the other person says. And
Yeah.
so, a small business can take advice and go with it. But it's a difference between taking advice from advisors and taking advice from investors.
Right.
That's two totally different things. And then taking advice from your team needs to be an ongoing maintenance communication pathway regardless. And so that's what I bring to leadership and bring it when I do consulting work and when I really try to help someone understand about team building capacity, or even whether or not they should be again like the CEO or anything. I I truly, again, I truly believe in like meeting someone where they are,
Yes.
and ultimately you have to show them the different examples. And just because you advise someone or you consult someone, or can provide a comprehensive solution to them, um, you you really have to understand where they came from in their advising path or
Yeah.
history.
Yes.
Like for instance, does someone has someone always taken advice from their mother or father?
Right. No.
Who do they give advice to? You know
Right.
what I mean? Do they go to do they are they spiritually grounded and go to a religious institution on a regular routine basis?
Right.
Or do they like going to the bar to figure out where the
Exactly.
local bartender got their bread and cheese from? I mean, like, you I mean, get this. If I mean, I'll be a fool to talk to someone about health and wellness, and I see them eat Coney Island every day. Something might not add up with the calories that I'm pursuing
Yeah.
versus the cooking the cooking techniques that they're using for what they choose to consume. And so
Yes.
just using basic logic and common sense sometimes
Right.
when we're going after help, support, advice, and even financial. Like if you're not totally financially literate and you haven't been able to maintain your books, why do you think you can maintain the books of a business? Go get you an accountant yesterday.
Yes.
But a lot of us don't say that to each other.
Right.
We patronize, we're passive, we don't speak out, and then that translates into voting, it translates into elections, and then
Yeah.
people cry about how we get to certain places in society. Well, you thought you was high and mighty, and you thought you was building a big old corporate business and gonna be on the front of Time Magazine and Fortune 500, and
Yeah.
you can't even get out your house with your supplies effectively to get to a craft or a vendor
A
show.
pop
And so,
show. Right.
yeah, like let's be real about it. And so, again, the things that I did in Let's Talk Roundtable and have done for the last 20 years
Mhm.
has positioned me in such a way to where I could be traveling internationally or doing anything, but right now I'm running for mayor of the city of the city of Detroit in order to make sure that every small business owner like yourself, every
Yeah.
consultant like yourself, everyone that you continue to speak to through this podcast, they continue to be empowered, inspired, and motivated to get to someone that can be trusted and
Yeah.
that has some ability to move the needle forward and move them towards a place of success. I think every time a consultant comes to the table like me or yourself, we're always thinking, how can I reach every how can not only can how can I reach that individual, but how can I reach that family?
Yeah.
Like that person has more to them than just them. They might have children. They might be a caregiver. They might have so many different things. And I would never want to meet that person or reach that individual and not and try to isolate them from what they experience on a day-to-day basis. That the capacity would totally have them delusional about what their success capability potential is. And
Yes.
so and so, not to talk in real big terms, but in order for um the everyday entrepreneur to really, really, really get it and really start to win, people like me and you have to continue to lean on each other to make sure that nobody's misleading, mistreating. A
Yes.
lot of people, I think what you were getting to earlier, I didn't pick up on it till just now when I was talking, but I've seen so many people lose so much money with consultants. I
Yeah.
stopped calling myself a consultant just because of that.
Right.
I started calling myself a fixer maybe about when Olivia Pope came out. I was just like, I'm a fixer.
I'm a
Like
fix.
because I do not like the word consultant because it just got so watered down and so many stigmas attached to it so quick that
Yes.
that you didn't want no part of the industry anymore. And so I think we're moving into a different season of influencing the digital age, and I
Yeah.
think that speaking up for yourself has become respectable, and
Yes.
and respected, and it's become um supported by the masses. And I think that people like you with Crafted Pen and this podcast and really getting the message out is where we need to be.
Yes, for sure, because our voice is everything. I mean, there's a voice in everything we do. There's a voice in our proposals, there's a voice in our brand, a voice in our messaging, how we communicate and really build relationships with people. And if you're not standing 10 toes down, like I said, confidence is key. People can
Yeah,
read your confidence a mile away. You can't come in and think you're gonna have a voice for something that you don't even believe in. So that's another thing that I say to my
yeah,
clients. Why did you start the business? A lot of them are just like, oh well, I guess it's no real why. Like if you don't have a real why in your business, if you don't really have true passion or have a real reason to be doing what you're doing, you're not going to stick with it. You're not going to stick with the business. It's too hard to just be in something to be in it. Like these business ventures need to make sense. And like you said, if you're not the expert, you want to come out, like you said, with something innovative. Maybe it's an app. Maybe it's some type of AI technology that's going to, transform something or streamline a particular process. Okay, that's not your niche. So don't pretend that it is. Stay in your lane. Get somebody to develop that. Like small business owners think they still are in the 9 to 5 mentality, right? You go to work, you clock in, you do what's expected of you, you clock out. You're just a busy bee, but you're not thinking more high level. You're not thinking about bringing in and keeping the opportunities flowing. So we got to get out of that. When you get an entrepreneurship, you got to delegate that work, the worker bee activities, so you can be more focused, so you can continue to create those solutions to move the company forward. So I'm just excited. I would love to come and visit. Let's talk round table for sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, yeah, you gotta check it out. Everybody go check out Let's Talk Roundtable.com. But I think that, and forgive me, I was playing around too much while you were talking just now. I was switching clothes because, well, not switching clothes. I want to put my jacket on. I forgot that I was wearing a local brand where I'm at now, Shops on Top. I was wearing their vest, but I want to put my
right.
campaign raincoat on. You know what? Like when I made that's what I was about to tell you. So when I started this campaign for mayor, a lot of people last year started to have their hand out in terms of like getting paid, like just to come on board. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I really want to pay you. And I don't mind paying you for your influence. But you're talking to someone that is going for one of the most recognizable offices in this land, and you want me to pay you. But then you want me to pay you even it, it but you'll go ask the next candidate who doesn't stand for what I stand for to pay you the same rate or whatever. And so my thing is this. A lot of people, this is why I like entrepreneurship so much, because a lot of people don't understand that they work for people that oppress them outside of their workplace, not to
Exactly.
mention inside of their workplace. And
Exactly.
um it's so it's so heartbreaking sometimes to see the company's decisions and where certain CEOs put their money and things like that, and you have no control over because you're putting yourself in a position of being mistreated
Yes.
and totally spoken for. And to have a vote and to be able to speak for yourself is one of the most empowering things, and people actually fought and died for it. And so I cannot do enough to encourage small business owners and young people to understand how much power and how much value they can bring and how much control they really can have over their communities if they take a look around and understand the basic process to become a
Yes.
block club captain or a block club president or to start a small organization. It doesn't have to be a full-blown nonprofit. It could just be a group that does work, that has a relationship with a nonprofit in which they can get a small stipend every year to do certain things that they're already doing for free and probably out of pocket themselves. And
Exactly.
so and so I just definitely believe that civic engagement, small business and entrepreneurship, quality of life, health and wellness from
Yeah.
a mental, and everybody experiences trauma. But
Right.
how do you get to a solution through trauma? How do you really take note and really tap into those psychological or biological potential defects or disorders that can or adverse experiences that can that can hopefully you can find a solution for by working with therapists and or dietitians and nutritionists. And so I'm really when I look at my life's mission and life's purpose, it's always to level the playing field and make sure everyone has a fair chance to be able to succeed and win. And it's nothing that keeps me away from that. Me running for mayor, me doing Let's Talk Roundtable, me having the weekend company, which is an international travel, hospitality, entertainment company. It's
Yeah.
always to give somebody the opportunity they would not have had. I always wonder, like, why has God put some people in a planted them in a jungle, but then some people in a penthouse?
Right.
I've always tried to ask him that question. And he says it's because you're here to show that person in the jungle that they can be in the penthouse if they want to. All they have to do is take a certain path. And so that's what I try to do is show people that everything and anything is possible.
Yes, definitely. And it really is because even for myself, I mean, from being homeless in a domestic violence shelter with my daughter not even a few years ago to doing what I'm doing today, a lot of times I think the problem is that we just don't see it, right? It's like the vision seems unattainable. And so we rather stay content, but really being an entrepreneur is all about risks. Everything is about risk.
Yeah,
Even if you're not running a business, the job you decide to take, the job offer you accept, the school you go to, everything we do is a risk. There's no guarantee in anything that we have, but long as we're staying diligent and we're remembering our why for why, the reason we're there and the reason we're doing it, we're going to continue to stay diligent in our efforts and see that reward. Because research shows, even if you're just thinking from a customer's perspective, right? So if you're trying to sell something to a customer, most of the times it takes up to 15 interactions with that person before they even ever give you money. And that's just your client, and you're conveying to them how you can solve their problem. So thinking about the relationships from a more business to business perspective is even more challenging because you're not only convincing them that you're coming in to help them solve that same problem, but you have to create the value for them as well, right?
yeah.
Why is this collaboration or partnership going to make sense? What's in it for not just me, but what's also in it for you? And that whole civic mentality, that community advocate mentality, I truly feel like when you put whatever you put out in your
You
community,
get back.
you get it back full circle, a
Yeah.
hundredfold. And it may not even because I've done a lot of free work for Goodwill, Flip the Script, and other nonprofit organizations because my heart is in it, right? I may not have gotten paid the highest dollar amount, but I did it. But guess what? In that workshop, somebody walked in that was on a decision maker, and now I've created a business partner just from being in the right place at the right time. So that's another thing. In business, yes, we have to grow, we have to make money to sustain, but we also got to be willing to put a little skin in the game and pay some things forward to really see those relationships flourish as well.
You're 1,000% right. And if I'm always someone who weeds out the bad actors. I can tell who's bad for the group, for the community. And that's again why um I, I'm I'm taking another look at government and even looking at this, and running this campaign right now because I don't believe in bad actors.
Right.
I don't believe in them. I have no confidence when I see them.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of bad actors come through not only the city but the Metro Detroit area, to be honest with you, just through America. And I won't stand for it. I'm just someone who says if I see somebody taking advantage of someone, and I call them out. I put them. I don't got to put them on Facebook or social media just to
Right.
call them out. Like if you're a trusted brand like I am, people come to you. People want to know, is this person good? What do I think about this person? When enough people ask you that, then you know that people trust you. And so, I have no problem with telling anybody at any given time. And honestly, I started to do a few websites that kind of mimic the Better Business Bureau and stuff like that. For
Yeah.
like, we should probably make a Black Business Bureau
Right.
website. And I mean, I'm not excluding any other minorities or races or ethnicities or communities or cultures, but I'm just saying like it's very seldomly that minorities or African Americans get to tell who's good for not necessarily their community, but who's good to
Right.
them or who's good in business. Like
Yes.
and Black African Americans businesses included. I know a lot of Black
Yeah.
African American or African American businesses that aren't the best at customer service or aren't the best
That.
at cleanliness and things like that, or in project management and being able to process orders or things like that. But
Yeah.
I don't always blame it on them either. I
Right.
think that I think that everybody has room to grow, and whenever you can help someone grow, you should. And so that's what I always commit myself to.
Yes, definitely. And I admire that. And that's why I stand so strong. That's why, because originally starting off in like the resume and career space, I realized very quickly, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur and yeah, I'm helping these people get jobs, but I don't even believe in this. I don't even believe in telling them to go work for this person who doesn't value them. There's no job security. Like, and a lot of my clients were like, I've been thinking about starting this business, and it was like God was telling me like, you doing the same work, but you need to come over here. You need to shift because this is where you're really needed. And ever since I have made that pivot, things have just flourished. So I just want to say to small business owners, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like your business isn't going to the next level, much like Jonathan said, go back to the drawing board, do that discovery, redo the discovery, look into it, examine the market. Don't just wake up and say, oh, I'm gonna sell t-shirts because John's doing it. Like, look at the demand, your location, what are your capabilities, the SWOT analysis, right? Your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats. Really looking and considering all that before you make that decision. Otherwise, you're going to either find yourself being a Jane or Jack of all trades, like I like I was doing. I think I've been in all the categories. Jane of all trades, in the wrong business. But it took that failure taught me a lot, right?
Yeah.
And it continues to elevate me. And I appreciate those experiences. Now I'm able to help other people to see things from different perspectives. But if you're able to come in like and work with a person like you or like myself to kind of streamline and cut all that, you don't have to fall down. Let me show you how to get to where you need to go. And that's why I really value consultants. I don't want to say the word.
No, 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 no. I mean,
Consultants are great.
it's just people that care. You want to find you someone that cares, but
Yes.
you got to be also mindful that people get 4-year degrees just to go through the mechanics and the fundamentals, and anything and everything can be done overnight. And if you
Yeah.
plan on learning this stuff, do your due diligence. There's too many tools out there, the internet, Google,
Yes.
AI now, that can very well teach you a whole lot. You don't need a person for everything. You need to ask the right questions. If you ask the right questions, you will get the answers that you're looking for. Sometimes you might need to ask the question about what you need to ask just to be
Right.
able to understand what you need to ask to get the answer.
Right.
So like that's the process. That's the learning curve. What you don't know, you don't know. You need to
Right.
find out what you don't know so you can know how much you need to obtain before you get to the next level.
Right. Because what you don't know, you don't know. And if you don't know it, then
You can't do
what
it.
do you know?
You know, you don't. I mean, it's real
You know?
simple. Like I laugh. I don't laugh at people, but I laugh when people come to me and think they know it all.
Yes.
That boggles my mind because there's no way you do. And then those are normally the main people that I just say, I don't think you're that teachable.
Right.
You gotta be teachable. I can't even meet if you're not teachable, I can't even meet you anywhere because that
Right.
means you're gonna constantly tell me what it is. You
Exactly.
I get this. It's very few people in this world that can come up to me and say that they can live the life that I live because I know
Exactly.
where my relationships and and what doors are open to me. And that's again why I'm probably one of the best candidates that ever entered into a race here in Detroit for mayor
Yes.
is because I don't come from I'm made in Detroit,
Right.
but I'm different. I'm what get this. I'm what everybody knows a Detroiter can be.
Exactly.
I know where my confidence and my value is. When I go into another market, Atlanta, DC, Houston,
Yes.
LA, Miami, I know but I also recognize that those markets have moved faster and got to a different level, and
Yes.
and that I could be one of a dozen, but because I have even more national experiences, I'm able to see the landscape better. The
Right.
higher the higher you can fly to be able to see the most, the more you can get down into the weeds. But I'm talking about life. I've been doing this for 20 years,
Yes.
intentionally trying to understand, researching, trying to
Yes.
make sure that I understood where community blended into faith and otherwise. So I don't expect everybody to know what I know, but I don't expect for anybody to come to me telling me that they know exactly what I know because you can't know what I know, but I guarantee you because of my discovery of so many different entrepreneurs, so many different people, so many different communities, I can identify your profile quicker than you can identify mine. And that's the beauty of the business. When you can
Exactly.
understand who that customer is before they understand who you are, you have a better chance of then communicating who you want to be because if not, they're going to put you in a box and say that they don't need your service or they can't work with you or that you're inefficient, incompetent,
Right.
or something to get them away from the transaction. And that's what you don't want.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love that. Yeah. One of my business mentors told me, obsess, like literally be obsessed with the problem.
Yeah.
Like in your business, you should be so obsessed with the problem that you live, eat, sleep, and breathe it. Like literally, you're always constantly looking for a way to solve this problem the best, most efficiently, most effectively, with the highest success rate. Right. So, and I've always clung to that for sure. So I really enjoyed this conversation with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very insightful. Definitely conversations that a lot of business owners don't want to have. They don't want to admit that
Yeah.
you don't have it together. You don't have it all together. Until they can accept that, you'll be stuck in this spot. So how do people connect with you? What events or promotions or initiatives do you have going on right now that you'd like to invite the entrepreneurial community to?
Yeah, so pretty much now everybody can just go to votebarlow.com. That's how people have been catching me. Let's talk roundtable.com. We haven't taken it down. We're going to continue to do it. Because I'm the founder and because I'm running for mayor right now, we kind of put things on pause
Okay.
for 2025. Depending on how this election turns out.
Yeah.
We'd like to bring in hopefully another CEO or another executive director, hopefully by next year 2026. But really getting in touch with me is votebarlow.com. I'm John Barlow on most social platforms. Anybody can call me direct 313-728-2398. Again, 313-728-2398. I don't, nobody screens those calls. It ain't no Google Voice number where they gonna ask you for your name.
Right.
I pick up and I say, "How may I help you?" And
Yeah.
that's for the lieutenant governor, the president of the United States, or for any average individual that just wants to know more. Now, don't call me and take all day on the phone, and I ain't here for you know
Right.
uh no a runaround. But I mean, I open myself up to everybody, and again, I just appreciate you, Marley, for having me on. I think yeah, it's just success and winning all in your future. I can see it. I love the fact that you're trying to bridge the gap for a lot of people and get people started. And we need more people like you, willing to step up and be a little bit more vocal about what's necessary. And so, again, I'm trying to bring $500 million to the city to really empower people like yourself to be able to get to that next level. So, yeah, catch me, and hopefully I can get everyone's support out there.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. My personal journey is really what drives me in this space. I've always had a big heart, but a lot of times in life, I gave my heart to the wrong crowds, to the wrong people. And now I'm starting to feel, hey, I don't need to change me. I can keep a big heart. I just need to focus this energy where it's going to be most valued and appreciated. So all praises that, I've found finding my way.
We all do, and again, nothing happens overnight, and as long as you can find that peace and that joy, that's all that matters. Because money, it comes and goes. Money ain't everything,
Yeah,
and entrepreneurship, it can be fun, but you're signing up for something like you just said. It ain't pretty all the time,
right,
and anybody that tells you it ain't pretty, that it is pretty is lying to you. And anybody that's not willing to get in the trenches with you but
right,
still want to celebrate with you, you probably do better getting somebody else that's even less excited about celebration but more
exactly.
excited about the work.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yep. So I again thank you so much for your
most
insight
definitely.
today. And we'll be staying in touch. Of course, you know that.
Most
once,
definitely.
once things take back off, well, let's talk roundtable. Definitely
We
feel
get you in. Yeah, we're gonna get
like
you
I'll put
all
you out
everybody
there.
in. Yep. Good
Okay.
deal. Have
All
a
right.
great one.
You have a good one.